Hello everybody, welcome to Game 2 of this clan war between Clarity Gaming and xO Gaming. xOSeither, our victor from the last match, gave Clarity a 1-0 lead, and his next opponent is going to be xOSeither, or possibly xOSeither, but xOSeither is a whole nother word slash band, so I'm assuming it's going to be xOSeither, like from, what game is that? Final Fantasy something, I think. I keep thinking Sephiroth and xOSeither, and I'm pretty sure they're from different games. But anyway, this game is going to be a PvT. xOSeither, playing for Clarity Gaming, is going to be our red Protoss here in the north on Cloud Kingdom, and he will be going up against the blue Terran, whose name, for this matchup at least, is going to be xOSeither, of course, playing for xO Gaming. So this will be a PvT, and of course, Clarity Gaming is up 1-0 so far. This is a best of 7 clan war, all-kill format, as you can tell, because xOSeither is still up here on the field. That means the first of 4 victories will take this clan war. So we're going to be here on Cloud Kingdom. xOSeither is going to be looking for a wall off here, and xOSeither is actually going to be scouting after Pylon, and he's actually scouting in a sneaky path. You don't usually see scouts after Pylon in PvT, nor do you see them take this route, so I'm wondering if it's going to be some shenanigans incoming from xOSeither. Not particularly sure, though. Maybe he just wants to get in before the wall-off occurs. A lot of Terrans have been walling off, making the supply depot really quickly, and then just putting the SCV back on mining, but no such thing will be happening here for xOSeither, as he is going to be knocked back. And you know what? It's Cypher, and he's from Final Fantasy VIII, so never mind. Final Fantasy VIII is my favorite Final Fantasy, too. How could I forget that? So this probe is going to be knocked away. He's going to get a scout off. We don't see a gas here for xOSeither, so looking to be a gasless fast expand so far, and nothing out of the ordinary from xOSeither either. We'll see how these players contest each other out. Of course, xOSeither has a victory under his belt, so he's got to be feeling pretty good. And hey, 2 kills and a best of 7 is a great way to pave your road toward victory. He's actually going to harass here enough to knock both constructing SCVs off. And of course, we do see that the supply depot rather has been placed down, so that this probe should not be able to escape with its life. And excuse me, I'm just going to go on busy really quickly. The one thing I always forget to do is go on busy. Now, it looks like we have 2 in gas here for xOSeither, and what that means is he wants enough for Warp Gate, but he wants a faster Nexus as well. So he will be getting that Warp Gate started, along with probably a Stalker, and he'll be laying down a Nexus rather quickly, since he sees that his opponent is going for that gasless expand. Now, a lot of the times when Terrans see a really fast Nexus, or a Nexus first, sometimes they will, I don't want to say a lot of the time, because that's just not true. And, oh, was he just teasing? Nope, Marine pops out. Okay, pretty confident in taking that. And what I was talking about before is if they see that the Protoss is cutting corners to get a faster Nexus out, which it looks like xOSeither is here at the moment, should be starting a Stalker and Warp Gate soon, there we go, they might just cancel their command center, throw down 4 racks, and cut with a Marine all in. These sorts of things do happen, can happen. It looks like xOSeither not looking to do that sort of thing, though. He does get a scout on that Nexus, and he is aware of exactly what's happening, how much gas has been mined, that sort of thing, and you know, when you're a good player, you got to take these sort of things into account. We are going to see a 2 racks follow-up here from xOSeither, so he's not going directly into tech immediately. Sometimes you will see people lay down a couple fast refineries before those barracks, but that's something you usually see more often in TVZ, because they want to go for those Hellions and those Banshees to get that sort of harass going. With this, you're opening what's much more likely into a standard mid-game, unless you're going into some sort of a combat shield timing attack. Meanwhile, the Protoss has added on a couple of more gates. xOSeither looking pretty comfy here. No second gas for him quite yet, though. So he's probably looking to defend off of gateway units for just a little bit skimpier on the sentries. We're going to see this gas go up now. And xOSeither has planted himself in the corner for possibly a delayed scout. Few Marines up here at the front for him, and he is going to get that orbital down at his national. So looking all fine and dandy, tech lab going on there. So depending on whether or not he starts stim or combat shield, that is when we will see exactly what he wants to do. And still no robo here from xOSeither, so I'm wondering what he wants to do, because usually you see fast robos with Protoss players. Maybe a Twilight Council, but even then he should have laid it down by now. So I'm very curious if he's possibly going for something like a fast third, very ballsy, oftentimes very scary against Terran. We are going to see stim coming up for xOSeither, however, so he's not looking to attack anytime soon, just going to go for that normally timed aggression most likely, with Medivacs, stim, and combat shield finishing, and usually is with +1 as well. Or he could go for the much earlier version that'll hit around actually 10 minutes instead of 11 minutes, but only time will tell. Meanwhile, this SCV is actually kind of coming here and get a full scout. Doesn't see any tech at all. No robo, and possibly just as puzzled as I am. I really feel like xOSeither is going to be going for a fast third here. He's still producing probes. He still hasn't laid down a robo. We have a pylon down here, but he hasn't proxied any tech yet. He's going to be laying on a little bit of aggression, but with a second bunker up. And I like this by xOSeither. There's a possibility of this being a 6-gate bust, and that sort of thing can be very dangerous against a Terran who does not have stim. And of course, stim takes a long time to finish, and that timing generally is not going to be until closer to 9 minutes. So we actually are going to see a lot of Stalkers out here on the field for xOSeither. No Twilight Council or anything, though. It's just going to be pure Stalker aggression, and the second bunker going to finish up right in time. And even with really good micro, with repair and everything, I just don't see how xOSeither is going to be able to break this. A couple of Stalkers immediately go down. And these bunkers are just pretty much going to stay here. Still no tech laid down for the Protoss, but now we have Terran moving into Starport, moving into Engineering Bay, really moving into that standard timing, but not going to be tricked or anything. He's going to keep these SCVs pulled, and right now, xOSeither just wants to get as many SCV kills as he can. He knows he's not going to be able to kill these bunkers or make it into the main of his opponent. He wants to get as many SCVs off the line mine-wise as he can, and he wants to pick them off, but xOSeither just doesn't even care. He's going to target down that supply depot, not going to worry at all. And these little pokes by xOSeither are not going to do much. Finally, we are going to see the Robo getting started at about 8 minutes, which is quite late. Starts air weapons briefly, realizes it's a mistake, cancels it. Air weapons, almost always a mistake in PvT. And we have this actually Marine on the high ground working on picking off this pylon, working on these bunkers again, forcing a couple SCVs off, but it's really not that much damage. However, he does have a probe lead, 40 to 35, did manage to pick off 2 workers, but of course xOSeither has done the same damage to him, so these Stalkers are not going to do too much. If we take a look at the base of our Protoss, we see that he does have the robotics facility there, and he is working on getting out an Observer and moving into Colossus Tech, but all of this is quite delayed because of the Stalker aggression that didn't do very much, and I'm wondering how much damage xOSeither is going to be able to do with that 10-minute push. Now that Stim is done, he might be able to get right on top of these Stalkers, but luckily, xOSeither does have his eye on that. We don't have concussive for these Marauders yet, but he has a big enough army to where he no longer needs the bunkers, and with Marauders out, Stalkers really can't play with Marines as much, of course, because they don't outrange the entire army. Zealots, sentries, chilling at home, waiting for the Stalker Brethren to return. We actually see a Twilight Council going down here as well for xOSeither, but we have a big Marine and Marauder ball coming out for xOSeither, as well as a couple of medevacs. So xOSeither sees this, he knows the timing, he knows exactly what's happening. And he's pushing out a little bit before Combat Shield is done, but +1 will be done by the time this attack hits. And depending on how long he keeps the aggression up, Combat Shield will finish too. And of course, he has mostly Marines, so it's going to be very effective. And something was picked off there. I'm not sure exactly what it was. SCV, possibly. Did he kill his own probe? I think, yeah, okay, he killed his own probe to get a Colossus in, I think. Didn't want to wait for a pylon to finish. Doesn't count that in workers killed, though. How about that? So that's something neat that I learned. Okay, he's going to stim it. There's a lot of gateway units here, actually. Force fields, not super dynamite. Wasn't able to catch that bio in time, but of course, the benefit of those medevacs is you can just lift off and go into the main, get a load a small portion of this army in. 9 Marines going to be dropping into the main, but they should be met by this Colossus. However, 9 Marines with stim and medevac support can easily take out a Colossus if it is unguarded. xOSeither is going to bring his forces up here, and he's not going to be able to kill much. Just 1 Marine going down. A few more units going to stim into the natural. Some Zealots getting right on top of them. There are no upgrades on this Gateway army, and we do have +1 on the bio, so they are able to chew up and do a lot of damage, but it looks like xOSeither spread his forces very well. He's going to be able to pick off most of this, and we look in the units lost tab. The Protoss is actually behind, and oh, if he loses his Colossus, he's going to be very behind. Needs to save that, but there's really not enough here for xOSeither to be able to pursue. No workers killed. Right now, 49 probes to 50 SCVs, and we do see the 3rd command center has finished and is morphing into an orbital back at home. But xOSeither doesn't have enough units to deny the 3rd for xOSeither, so xOSeither should be taking his 3rd Nexus pretty soon, especially once he gets a scout on the command center, which I believe he has. Yeah, he knows it's there. He knows what's up, so he should be taking his 3rd relatively soon, unless he wants to go for a 2-base bus. He's actually getting Blink here. And there's kind of been a back and forth waffling, there we go, about whether or not Blink or Charge is more useful. I've heard both sides to the argument. Of course, Blink, really great. Wow, the medevac count for xOSeither is huge. Is he even making Vikings? Okay, Vikings in production now, but he got 8 medevacs first, not something you usually see. Of course, Blink is good for catching drops, defending your base. That's why these guys are back in here. And of course, Charge is good for regular engagements. A lot of it depends on the map. Engaging with Charge at the Terran's base is not as good as Blink could be, because of course you just end up in these chokes. If you're catching them out in the center of the map, it's great, but I like Blink on Cloud Kingdom. Drops extra pickable off, of course, and you do have to be very worried about them. And of course, you can't always engage the best you could with Charge. In an ideal world, you get both, but you got to start with one. So we see xOSeither coming ahead with the army supply. He's got a big bio ball with a ton of medevacs. This is actually so scary for the Protoss. 1-0 complete. What sort of upgrades do we have for xOSeither? Nothing yet, starting with +1 weapons. And, you know, I don't mind it as much since he's getting Blink. Of course, oh, he actually gives away the Blink there, I think. to kill that factory. I do not agree with